So it looks like we're getting a new wave of collective build action figures from DC Multiverse by McFarlane Toys. It's based on the Dark Knight Trilogy. But are any of these action figures any good, guys? And are they worth your money? Be sure you stick around until the end, soulmates, because we're going to talk about what characters from the Dark Knight Trilogy we want to see next. First action figure we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is TwoFace. And TwoFace is probably my least favorite action figure in this entire wave. Let's start with the positives here. I think that the scarring on the head sculpt looks pretty accurate to what we see from the movies, so that's really nice to see. And also, when you get down to his body, there's lots of nice textures that are popping up, like the weave on his tie and the singe on his coat jacket, and all those little things like that make this feel really nice. You look up close and you can also see the weave of the fabric on the shirt, and little things like that really make these feel like high quality toys. And something else that I really like about this one is that he's got a coin in his hand, which adds to the appeal because, you know, I've had a lot of Two-Face action figures over the years that just haven't had a coin in their hand, and it's a little lackluster when they don't have a coin because it's kind of Two-Face's thing. For what it's worth on Two-Face, everything looks really nice until we get to the side of his head sculpt that is supposed to represent Aaron Eckhart, the actor who played him in the movie. And it just doesn't look like Aaron Eckhart at all, which really leads me to ask the question here: did they have trouble securing the rights to his likeness? Is that why they did this action figure this way? Because if that's the reason, I don't know, guys, maybe they should have gone with a different character on this one. Don't get me wrong, it's really cool to see Two-Face here, but if he doesn't look like Aaron Eckhart from the movie, then it kinda throws a damper on the whole thing, because part of the appeal of these action figures, or I should say a lot of the appeal, is that they actually look like their movie counterparts. And essentially what we're looking at here is a decent Two-Face action figure, but a not very good Dark Knight Two-Face action figure. The second action figure we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is the Scarecrow, who is based on his appearance from the end of Batman Begins, when he was riding around on a horse and stuff. And I think they put him in the costume like this with the straitjacket that's all torn up so that he wouldn't be just another guy in a suit like he kinda was in the movie, just albeit with the burlap sack mask. This is a pretty nice release. I think that it's an inspired choice for the wave, and the straitjacket that's all torn up adds a lot of variation to what would otherwise be kind of a ho-hum looking line, because let's be honest, the designs from the Dark Knight Trilogy probably aren't the most toyetic. I really love the burlap sack-esque textures that they're capturing on his mask and the straitjacket. That just looks so good to me, and they did such a wonderful job. And getting all the little shading in there with what looks like a black wash, that's really cool too. It really brings out the details, and you know, you can see his suit underneath that straitjacket, and that's probably my least favorite part, is the suit, because it kind of looks like he has bell bottoms at the end. It just doesn't look quite right down there. Despite that, I still like this one a lot because I feel like it's a better release than Two-Face, just because the likeness looks much more like the Scarecrow than Two-Face does. If you're enjoying the video so far, soulmates, please consider hitting the like button, because I really appreciate it, and these videos take a lot of time and effort to put together. Before we get back to talking about the rest of the Dark Knight Trilogy wave, please consider subscribing, guys, especially if you enjoy Marvel Legends and DC Multiverse content like this. The third action figure we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is the Joker, based on Heath Ledger's look from the Dark Knight, and of course this is going to be one of the best action figures from the line, and it definitely is. Interestingly enough, he comes with a pile of money, which is not something I expected to see. Curiously enough, on Joker, they don't have as many textures on his design as they do on Scarecrow and even Two-Face, to be honest. his designs look a lot more, I guess, smooth, you might call it. And when you look at the Joker from The Dark Knight, you notice that his tie and his shirt have different patterns on them, and those aren't present here, but they get the colors right, thank goodness, and the value looks pretty good too. They capture that so it contrasts just enough that they don't get lost against each other. His face, I think, is where most of the focus on the sculpt went, because they did make it look pretty much like Heath Ledger here, and it looks about right. It captures the essence of that greasy hair that he had in the movie. The only thing I would say about the head sculpt is that I feel like maybe the makeup on it isn't quite thick enough, because they managed to get some of the skin tone through the makeup, which looks about right, but it feels like it should be a little bit more caked on in some places, like it's more opaquely white. And maybe there should be a little bit more red on his face, but not too much. As it is for a $25 Heath Ledger Joker, I think they definitely nailed the look, and I feel like, yeah, this is totally one of the best action figures in the wave, and one of the ones to get, guys. The fourth action figure in this wave that we're going to look at, guys, is of course Batman, and this one is a really great version of him. I gotta say that they absolutely nailed it. He might be the best action figure in the entire wave, and he even comes with some nice accessories. He comes with 3 batarangs and a grappling gun. That's crazy to me that he comes with 3 batarangs. That's more batarangs than I think we've ever seen with any other Batman action figure, but I guess Christian Bale's Batman deserves it. When you look up close at Christian Bale's Batman, the intricacy of the detail is mind-blowing. They've got so many different things going on this armor, and it seems like they've managed to capture everything from the movie, and that was a complicated costume. But somehow they managed to get all the mesh textures, they managed to get all the armor pieces, they managed to capture the belt right. It looks great. The only thing I would criticize on this one is that his nose seems to be exposed when you look underneath. And why it's exposed doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because when you look at photographs from the movie, it very obviously is not exposed. So this is a strange design choice to me, and one that is not in line with the movie, and it's just kind of too bad here because it's otherwise a really great action figure. They almost got it completely perfect. I still like this one though, and I feel like this is definitely one that I want for my collection along with Joker at the very least. The last action figure we're going to look at from the Dark Knight Trilogy wave, guys, is of course the Build-A-Figure Bane. And how is Bane? He's pretty sick. He might be the best action figure in the entire wave, maybe. It's up there along with the Joker and Batman, but from the look of things, I think they got this one exactly right. I can't really find anything that stands out as a flaw on Bane. It looks like they captured the essence of him from The Dark Knight Rises, and the vest looks really, really good on him. I don't know how much movement there's gonna be on Bane's torso because of the plastic vest that he's gonna be wearing, and I don't know if that's going to restrict him, but maybe he'll be okay. Something that's new about Bane though is that he comes with 3 sets of hands, which is really unusual but also kind of awesome because it's not something we've really seen with McFarlane Toys before. But yes, he has a pair of fists, he has a pair of what I guess you might call beckoning hands, and then he has hands that are kind of just open a little bit. Now, looks aside, I have to wonder how the construction on this Build-A-Figure is going to be, because McFarlane Toys had a little bit of a rocky start with their Build-A-Figures, and they don't stay together the best, not the ones that I have put together. I'm hoping that when we play with Bane, that he's going to stay together very well, and he'll be easy to play with, and he won't give us any headaches. I'm really hoping, because I'm really excited for this wave, and I love the way Bane looks. They just did such a nice job on this one, and I'm really excited. For all the flaws that I've brought up today, guys, I think that the pros definitely outweigh the cons, and this wave is worth checking out. Well, Soulmates, now that we've seen all these Dark Knight Trilogy action figures from this wave, what characters from the Dark Knight Trilogy do we want to see next? Well, I think a really cool one would be to do some variations of the Joker, such as Nurse Joker would be a very fun action figure, I think. But also, it would be great to see Talia al Ghul, because obviously she was a pretty big addition to The Dark Knight Rises. Of course, what's Talia al Ghul without Ra's al Ghul? Obviously, you gotta have him because he's just as important to the movies as she is. And if you're gonna have them, you might as well have Catwoman. There's so many more characters we could have from the Dark Knight Trilogy, Soulmates, and I hope we see a few of them, definitely. Well, Soulmates, what do you think about this Dark Knight Trilogy wave from McFarlane Toys? Is this one that you have to have for your collection? Are you loving some but not others? Or are these not really what you're looking for whatever reason? I don't know, guys. Be sure you let me know down in the comments what you think of these toys, and let me know what you would love to see from the Dark Knight Trilogy next from McFarlane Toys. If you'd like to learn more about the new retro Batman 1966 line, you can check out that video here, Soulmates.